This is Shaun Sport in podcast form.
Great to have Seabass in the house. Of course, Caitlin Bassett, Australia's greatest ever netballer. I'm standing by that.
I got so many comments about that last week. Like,
What do you mean?
because I'm clearly not Australia's greatest netballer.
You captain Australia, correct?
She's Nova's greatest netballer.
Thank you. I like that. Yes, I like that.
Are you
Sorry,
the leading-
Amy.
Amy, sorry. Who's the leading goal
Tell
scorer
that
of
to
all
Sunday,
time?
Ariang.
Where do you sit?
I don't know. I don't think they do big tallies
Internationally,
and
yeah.
things like that. Yeah, I know.
Irene van Dijk, probably.
Oh, she's incredible.
She was amazing.
She was New Zealand, so
and South Africa before that.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
so I don't know. In terms of most goals shot, probably maybe.
You'd be,
Oh, I'm thinking
you'd be up
Australia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
around that. Yeah.
Oh,
Why
you
not?
deserve
I'll
it.
take it. I'll take it.
Yeah, I wanted to kick things off by talking about footy. And yesterday there was the big freeze at the G, which is great news. Truckload of money once
yeah,
again.
they do such a great job.
Neil Danaher.
It's incredible. He's Australian of the Year for good reason. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I met him at the pub a couple of months ago, and he came in and we were able to talk to him, and he asked us through his computer system. He took a while because he can type it out with his eyes, using his eyes, which is
Wild, that
amazing.
technology, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it incredible? And it's his voice as well.
his
They've
voice.
They AI'd his voice into it. Incredible.
It was incredible, and I went up to the guy at the bar and I said, "Do you mind turning down the back the noise, the music?"
The music, yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, I'm not sure. It'll just might upset a few of the patrons around." I said, "Oh, we've just got this guy."
It's the Australian of the Year.
And you just need to hear him. He needs to hear us. And
Yeah.
he walked away. It's great
What
to
was
see
your
him.
favourite costume from the Big Freeze? Because I've got two.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I did like Olivia Newton-John, Ariane.
She
Yeah.
looked
Arnie.
dead ringer.
Yeah, she
Hey,
did.
she looked so good.
She got the rig to be able to take off
Yeah.
the tight outfit.
the
very
the
tight
topless.
pants.
Who else did I thought Peter Dacos did look like the Joker.
Yeah.
I mean, they all did.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
So firstly, Sharon Strzelecki.
Oh, yeah, that's really
yeah.
funny.
She's
So that was Alyssa
mid,
Healy.
So
Yeah.
Alyssa Healy, yeah. So I like to think, because I worked with her in New South, that I had a positive impact on her.
Great.
So
And so she wanted to go as the
Exactly.
most famous netballer in Australia.
Exactly. The most.
Sharon
That
Strzelecki.
is the most. That's where the bar is set, ladies and gentlemen, right up there. And then secondly, Lizzie Watson, captain of the Australian Diamonds, went as Barbie, which was
Oh, yeah,
great
that's
as
right.
well.
Yeah, the girls
she
really
rocked
brought it, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah, they certainly did.
Yeah.
Well done to everybody there. The game itself was an absolute belter. 1 point was the difference in the end.
Yeah.
Max Gawn had a moment in the last quarter where he kicked the ball across goals into the middle of the ground, and it was intercepted by Collingwood, like 40 metres out, and it
Yeah,
was a
he'll be
terrible
having,
kick, right?
He'll be having nightmares about that.
Stephen May, after the game, came up and got right in his face, and he basically pushed him off and told him to nick off
Yes.
in no uncertain terms. After the game, the coach, Simon Goodwin, he was asked the question about the situation, and Simon Goodwin, he played a pretty straight bat. Here he is.
Two competitors that frustrated, two leaders that got an incredibly strong relationship that obviously disappointed with the outcome. But as I've spoken to the whole group about that, be disappointed in the outcome, but keep working on the things that'll keep making us better.
What do you make of that, Seabass? Did it happen when you were playing?
Yeah, it did. Probably not as publicly or as fiery as that, but there was definitely some heated chats on the netball court, especially when it was a close loss, because
Yes.
you feel it so much more. It's like, it just guts you, doesn't it? Especially with so many eyes watching and such a auspicious game. But yeah, I think testosterone as well plays a big part in it, with guys getting into each other's faces. But it definitely wasn't all smiles and rainbows and fluffy on the netball
Makes it a
court.
bit awkward in the change room afterwards.
Not
doesn't it?
really, because I reckon that clears it, gets it
Feedback's
out of the
your
way.
friend.
Yeah, and like girls, unfortunately, have the tendency to go and whinge and have a little bitch
Sure,
away.
I see what you're saying.
Whereas those two blokes, they had it out, and I'm hoping that that's cleared for everything. What about you, Shawnee?
Yeah, it is certainly different to the women's world in that sense, because we used to have training, and you'll see it every summer on the training track. Some guys are punching on.
yes.
Even Caleb Sarong and Andrew Brayshaw were
Yes.
having a go at each other. Full on.
Or the Warner Brothers.
And the Warner Brothers, same deal.
Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in Force, at the Force, actually, they do punch on. There's been times where the boys punch on, and afterwards they're just like happy mates. And
Yeah.
I don't.
How do you switch?
understand. I don't.
How can you be friends after
understand.
that? Yeah.
Shake hands, you're good.
Respect. I guess
Yeah.
it's that respect level. And when you
Yes.
respect someone and in the heat of the moment, you're going really hard. And to be
Yeah.
honest, I would rather someone tell me that heated feedback than not tell me at all, because
Yes.
there's that level of respect.
for it
That
to
if I
fester.
care about you, I'm going to tell it to you. If I didn't give a S about you, I'm not going to help you get better.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And but I mean, a lot of people, because they see this in the public forum, which was yesterday, in front of 78,000 and hundreds of thousands watching at home, they're like, oh, they must hate each other.
But that might
It's not
happen every
necessarily
week
the
at
case.
training. We don't know that. It might happen. That might just be their relationship.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I think it was a good thing for the game, actually.
Yeah.
And then we can have these discussions.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point about the whole thing. A lot of workplaces don't have the hard conversations. Everyone talks about each other in a different way and maybe to somebody else, and you don't get to the core of it.
Yeah, and we do all this de-identified feedback, and we sit and do these surveys, and it comes through, and you're getting ripped to shreds, and you don't know actually who it's coming from. Sometimes just sitting down and having a coffee and a conversation, you can nut these things out really quickly.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to say to Shaun?
No, you, Nat, actually.
Hey, Seabass, this time of year, and Nat will be right amongst it because the Tour de France gets underway very shortly. We got Wimbledon, which isn't too far away as well. All these European sports. Australia are actually playing cricket tonight. Actually, it gets underway.
World Test Championship.
World Test Championships against South Africa. All things come alive. Are you one of those people who gets involved in, well, more so
Sitting up
the Tour
all
de
night
France
watching the Tour de France?
and the tennis?
The Tour, back in the day, I used to date a triathlete, and we would get into the Tour so much so that he would do the amount of Ks on the bike.
Get out.
Yeah, that like as watching.
Some of them are several hundred.
Yeah, and his sister, who we live with, her partner actually raced in the Tour de France. So
Wow.
that was awesome. So we would get up to watch him, and that was really exciting. So there was heaps of buy-in, and I understand the fans really get into it, and that would be a bucket list thing for me one day is to go and watch a leg.
Yeah.
And
It's also just good holiday planning. I found I planned a trip to France by watching the Tour de France one year. I'd like to see a beautiful little bit. Oh, I'm going to go there.
write that
and I
down.
did. It was amazing.
Nuts though getting accommodation because I can imagine.
Oh,
the
not
amount
at
of
the same
people-
time.
not at
So,
the same
yeah,
time.
But you just
later.
saw on the coverage and then you went there.
Yeah.
So, sorry, getting back to that guy, he jumped on a bike, a stationary bike, watching the Tour de France
Lots
doing
of the boys do it.
170, 200
lots
Ks.
of. I reckon Greg Hire is definitely one that would do something similar to that. Like lots of triathletes or cyclists actually do that, and they actually ride the same amount. So they can experience it, I guess.
That's unreal.
It's in real time, right? Because they're not doing the catch-up one because that's only a 30-minute episode.
No. They'll do that amount of Ks. So say like they'll look up early and they'll be like, okay, tonight's leg is X Ks, and so they'll do that and they'll make that and build it out.
213 Ks and there's a hill at the end, and that's what they'll do.
That's what they'll prove it, and they'll just do it when they're riding and watching on their air trainer.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do it.
Yes.
Netball Seabass, how about that fever, eh? That was a big game against the undefeated Swifts, and they were comprehensive, really.
It was a statement win, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think we teased that this was potentially a grand final. And like what a game. And I mean, in other news, the Thunderbirds, who are the reigning champions 2 times in a row, they got smoked by the Giants, who are the bottom of the ladder. So they've dropped out of the top 4 now. And for me, that top 4 is really exciting. There's some really there's some movement there which we haven't seen in previous years.
But as we know, when the Thunderbirds are go, they'll come for you. and when I only watched the highlight because there's netball shows on Fox these days. You can catch up with all the stuff there. But it was really impressive by the West Coast Fever. I always like to play a team at the right part of the year when they haven't lost. Because that's a when you're a
well,
coach of
that's
the
what
Swifts
Helen
now.
Halsby said. She did say so. Who's the goal attack for the Swifts? She said it's whilst we hate losing, it maybe is the loss that we had to have because you see it's a cliche, but you do see it all the time. The undefeated team goes all the way through, gets a bit complacent in the finals, and gets rolled. Then you'd rather get rolled now than in the finals.
I reckon Swifts learnt a lot about what they need to do the next time they face the Fever. But it is also always better losing in the rounds.
Yes, for sure.
Shaun Sport in podcast form.
Hey, we're going to start off with the round ball game, and Socceroos captain Matt Ryan plays his 100th game for Australia, so 100th cap they're talking about, when Australia plays Saudi Arabia tonight to make sure that they 100% qualify for the World Cup.
That is, so they've got to not lose by 4-0, right?
Yeah,
So that's the brief.
Maths?
Yeah, that's the brief.
Yep.
Well, I mentioned Matt Ryan's name just before we came into the sport,
100%.
and Nat, where did you stand on Matt Ryan?
I said, who's Matt Ryan?
Yep.
Ross?
I did say that, and I don't feel great about it. Sorry, Matt, but I just wanted to know.
I mean, 100 caps is incredible. Well done.
Yeah.
But we all knew who Sam Kerr was, didn't we, when she was captain of the Tildas.
Yes.
I could not
As
pick him
opposed
out
to
of
who,
the.
Nat?
Well, so I think Batuta Advocate called them the male Tildas, which is funny. But I don't think I could pick Matt Ryan out of a lineup.
No. But years ago, you would have
Maybe
been
if
able
he was the only one holding a soccer ball, but otherwise, no.
Incredibly, years ago, you would have been able to pick out Lucas Neal
Yep.
or Mark Schwarzer
Yes.
or Mark Viduka or
Yes.
Harry Kuehl
Yes.
or Tim Cahill.
Yes, all of them.
All of them.
There he is on the big screen, Nat.
I have never seen that man before in my life.
He looks like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he was out of form for a while and he got dropped, but he came back and he's back in the keeping position. And 100 caps is no mean
Wait,
feat.
he's
And
the
as I
keeper?
said,
He's the
the
keeper?
keeper and captain.
You sure?
So he joins Tim Cahill and Mark Schwarzer as the only Australians to play
100.
over 100 games.
He's
That's
got.
him, and you didn't even know him.
To go back to that photo, he's got a touch of the Roy Kents. If you're a Ted Lasso fan,
Yeah.
he's got that in that
He
particular
certainly
photo.
has. He certainly has. Okay, staying with the
Wow.
round ball game for a second, everybody. Auckland FC are a team that plays in the New Zealand
Yes.
National League.
Yes.
Not the A-League team who plays
No,
in our
that's
team.
Wellington, yeah.
Yes, just the Auckland.
So the New Zealand
League.
National League. Yeah, right.
They are the winners of the Oceania District. And they're amateur players, right? But because the World Club Challenge, you have to have a team that represents different areas. They are in the World Club Challenge, which is worth a couple of $1 billion.
And they're just like a bunch of accountants
Amateurs,
and
amateur
tradies.
footballers.
Yes.
And they
I love
are going
these stories.
to play in this competition where they face, in their first game, Bayern Munich on Monday, the 16th of June. Bayern Munich.
Bayern
then
Munich.
they follow it up.
What's the how much do the players at Bayern Munich? You know, what would they?
Oh, Bayern Munich. I'll get Amy to
Like
Google that while
literal-
we're doing that. But Bayern Munich, they're the Bundesliga champion 100 times
hundreds
over.
of millions of dollars.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. See what their salary cap is, Amy, or their collective salaries. Then we move on to, as everybody knows, this team as well, Benfica.
Yes.
They take on Benfica, which is the champions, I think, Portuguese team, actually, Benfica.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
And then this team is massive as well, South American team, Boca Juniors. And if you've ever seen some of those stadiums where Boca Juniors play...
It's like 100,000 people going nuts.
Yeah, they're going absolutely mental. They're the 3 games that they've got in the repechage
And
before they can move on. And by the way, just for turning up, here's the other part to this.
Yes.
Just for turning up, they earned their club or whatever $5.4 million
Amazing.
to play a part of this.
What are they going to spend that on?
No, but this is the thing. New Zealand football, Nat, are arguing with them. They believe that they take the
should get
funding and then they distribute it the way that they see.
that's
So
not
there's a bit
fair.
of a situation going on. Ross?
Bayern Munich salary cap around 274,480,000.
Euros.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, that's euros.
So double it.
A lot,
So
half a
it's-
bill.
Yeah.
$500 million.
And the salary cap of the Auckland Football Club is
I'd be under
0.
100 grand.
Because
The amateurs.
they're
sorry.
amateurs.
Someone might be getting a couple of
Yeah,
thousand.
yeah. You get a free pie from the
Yeah,
canteen.
case of beer.
Amy, you've got something to add?
So Harry Kane,
Yes, who's playing for Bain?
For Bain,
Who used to play for?
Tottenham Hotspur. So his gross annual salary is 25 million euro,
Yeah.
or 480,000 euro per week.
Oh,
800 over 800,000 Australian dollars
He's
a week.
31.
Yeah.
damn. That is just like, that's a whole different world. I don't like hearing stuff like that.
Do you reckon?
So
do you
what-
reckon if you're earning over $800,000, you're hooked up to a frequent flyer program, or you're taking the points from Woolies when you go through?
You're not collecting your Yochi points, are you?
I've got a card for that. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Scan this, please.
Yeah. Rewards card, IGA.
So what if they win one of these games? If they'll be
well,
the biggest
yeah.
boil over of all time. But that's the dream, isn't it? That's the fairy tale. And it's possible.
Okay, so if they get through the repechage, Nat, then it's kind of like triple the amount of money coming
Yeah.
their way. And once
mean,
again, they got to have that fight with the New Zealand football body to be
Yeah,
able
about
to
who
get some
gets
of
the
that cash.
cash. Great story, and I'm fully invested.
Shaun Sport is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.